Hello, everybody. I'm Talita Favoreto. On behalf of Furukawa, welcome everyone and thank you for your participation here. Today in this webinar, we are going to see more about the Easy Grow solution. The transition of conventional networks to FTTH evolved quickly and demands new technologies to allow the massive deployment in several environments. The EasyGrow solution presents a technology for pre-terminated networks that required fast development based on a serial topology concept with unbalanced power. Let's show this revolutionary technology and its economic advantages. I present to my colleague, Global Solutions Engineer Alexandre Chapo, who works towards the growth of know-how and use of FTTX and passive optical lens for the markets of Europe, Middle East, and Southeast Asia, while collaborating on building Furukawa Electric brand as a leading broadband and cabling company. He has already held positions of product development and engineering in new markets development. During the presentation, you can write questions here in the comments, some of which we'll answer in the final minutes of the session. Have a good presentation. Chapo, please.
Thank you, Talita. Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk a bit about the revolution that is happening in the FTTH networks. So how the Easy Grow that I'm going to present you can revolutionize the way we think about FTTH nowadays, and how can it make the network be installed and deployed faster, easier, and much more effective. Okay, so a bit about Furukawa first. Furukawa is a Japanese company, which is over 100 years old, as any Japanese company is a very old company. It has over 50,000 employees in over 120 subsidiaries all over the world. Furukawa has solutions in connectivity in LAN networks, so all the cabling, elements, cables, accessories for this kind of networks. Has solutions for the industrial parts, industrial environments. So also all cabling, all accessories involved in this kind of environment for oil and gas, manufacturing, and so on. And of course for broadband solutions. So having solutions for FTTH or even point-to-point and so on for ISPs and operators to deploy their networks. Now, what are the main challenges we face when we look at the optical networks we have? Of course, we always want more efficiency, better quality at a lower cost. This is the ideal scenario which we always aim at. Of course, it's not always possible to reach the ideal, but this is the goal, right? This is what we think about when we think about a solution that we're going to deploy in the field, or a way how we're gonna use the labor and so on. So this is our goal, right? And what are the biggest challenges when we look at that? Well, we have accelerated growth for home passed and home connected, right? This is, even now in COVID time, this is increasing a lot. We've seen a growth in fixed broadband because everyone is on home office. So this continues to accelerate. We need to look for simple construction, as specialized labor is always hard to find, always hard to maintain in the teams, and we need reliable networks. So, and even when you have to do some maintenance in these kind of networks, they have to be cheaper, right? So this is our challenge and what we're looking at when we think about the solutions that we're going to apply in the network. Now, this is a study from FTTH Council, which is very interesting because many of the operators, ISP, usually consider active and passive products, always trying to reduce the price in those segments. But this study was interesting because the FTTH Council knew that this was not the main issue when you think about deploying the networks. The main issue would be the labor. Of course, this may vary from country to country. This can be 40, 60%, and so on. But the point is that labor takes a big slice of the investment in deploying FTTH networks, right? So this is something that you will need to look at when you're deploying the network, even more than which products you're going to use. Right? So how you can reduce the labor cost, right? So sometimes it's more interesting to invest a bit more in passives or design or even the actives in order, let's say you spend 17% on passives, but you reduce to 40% the labor cost, right? So this is the math sometimes you have to think. This is why this study was made, right? And what should we be looking at in order to improve this overall deployment? When you think about operation and maintenance, you have to think about how much time does it take to repair the network, how complex it is for my technicians to go there and repair do the maintenance, repair the cable or the box. The training, it needs specialized labor to deploy those solutions in the field, right? Do I need the supplier, or do I have the supplier support for training all my personnel? The installation time. Do I need a lot of splicing in the network? Splicing always takes a lot of time, right? How much time does it take to get the work permits from the government? How many teams, how many technicians do I need to deploy that solution, right? So all this has to be taken in consideration when you think about deploying the network, right? So these are the main challenges we see. And EasyGrow comes to address these kind of issues and how to improve this network, how to evolve this kind of network, right? So bringing quick deployment in a architecture that we call it like a serial network, which I will explain in the following slides, right? So let me get the pointer here. Here we have a fiber coming from the central office, from the OLT, for example, right? And it will come to this distribution box, or a mini hub, as we also like to call it, which I'll explain why later, right? So it comes directly from the OLT. This is called the CTOP, your distribution closure in the network, right? Here you're going to splice this fiber coming from the central office to a pigtail and connect inside to an adapter, okay? This is the only splice you're going to have in the entire network, all right? When you go to deploy the distribution cable, you don't need to open this box anymore. After you do this splice here and connect to the adapter, you close the box and that's it. Your technicians will not need to install, will not need to open the box anymore. Why? Because these connections here of the distribution cable are pre-terminated and can be done from outside the box. These connectors are IP68. Okay, so this is a pre-terminated cable and is your distribution cable. Now, what is the advantage here? In your tradition, your conventional network, how it would be the distribution cable? It will have 12, 24, even 48 or more fibers in the distribution part, right? From the distribution closure to the termination closure. Here, you're going to have a one core cable, one fiber, right? So this is a very small cable. It's a 3 millimeter. It's a robust cable. It's not like a drop. It has more robust elements. And this will be your distribution cable, right? One fiber. Now, this one fiber will connect to the termination closure. Now, here's the catch. You connect here on the input and you have unbalanced splitters inside and a 1x8 splitter, which means you're gonna be able to come out with drop cables to the customer from this termination closure, and one of the legs of this unbalanced splitter can connect the next box, right? This means your distribution network will be made of one fiber cables. This has a lot of impact on accessories, time of installation, right? How easy it is to deploy a cable like this. How many people you need to deploy a drop cable, right? It's very, very easy, very light cable, okay? So this is very similar to the deployment of a drop cable because how light it is, how simple it is. and is pre-terminated. Okay, so let me show you a bit how it is inside this box. So this box is sealed, okay, sealed from factory. You don't need to open in the field. Technician just needs to put in a pole, or can be underground as well as IP68, right? And here is the input of the box. The cable that comes from the distribution closure will connect here, from outside, of course, right, in this connector here. And then inside you're gonna have an unbalanced splitter 1x2. How does it work? Unbalanced splitter means that in one leg you can have, for example, 10% of the optical power, and in another leg you can have 90% of the optical power. Okay, so let's say you have 10 dB here, you're gonna have 1 dB coming here and 9 dB coming here. What does that mean? This 1x8 can be connected to this leg and used to connect the drop cables to the customers, the subscribers. As this other leg will be used to connect the next box, right? So this other leg will connect the following box, and so on. So the architecture will look something like this, design of the network, right? You have the distribution closure here, and then you have these one fiber cables pre-terminated connecting this box in a serial network. Okay, you can connect 4 boxes, 8 boxes, depending on your design. Okay, but the idea is this: you reduce and make the distribution part of the network much simpler. So see here, we're bringing pre-terminated products to your network, but it's not simply changing. If you simply change the product from the way you're in the same architecture, the same design you're doing today in the network, just change the pre-terminated, maybe it will not be worth to you and you will not see so many advantages in the network, right? But when you make use of all these possibilities of the pre-terminated solution and enhance the design of the network, then you're going to see a lot of advantages in the network. Okay, so and many of you probably questioning about the optical power. Yes, it's possible. It's, as you're going to see in some slides ahead, it's already deployed, it's already running in the field. Of course, as any network, conventional or this one, you have to make the design, and we can help with that as well. Okay, but it's possible to reach the optical power needed at the subscriber. Okay, installation time. So this is somewhat what you see today in a conventional network, right? A lot of cables, a lot of people, many people doing splicing, right? When you do the maintenance or the installation, you need all these accessories. Because think about it, if you're reducing the cable to a size similar to a drop cable, you can change and improve all the accessories used for that, right? You don't need to invest so much in that. You can reduce the number of different accessories you have in your logistic with your teams. You can have more of one single accessory. You don't need this metal thing anymore. You can use a plastic holder to fix the cable, as the ones you probably use in the. This is just an example that you can use. Probably maybe you might use something different also depending on the country, but it's an accessory similar that you use to a drop cable to fix it, because the size is much smaller. So you won't have 12 fiber, 24 fiber cables here to fix anymore. Also the box, as I mentioned, is sealed. So you can just fix on the pole. You have this cable holding also in the back that you can store the cable, this deck. Okay. And as you can see here, this is the connection part. Okay. So you see the guy here is holding the distribution cable with one hand. Can you do that with a 12 fiber cable, 24 fiber cable? It's a bit more difficult, right? So what's the advantage of using the solution? Is mainly that you're reducing all these cables you have in distribution, make things much easier, much quicker to deploy, right? You're reducing the variety of accessories you have in the network, right? you can improve the efficiency of your teams installing it. So as it's much easier and quicker, you can have your teams deploy much more distribution part of the network, even activation of customers in one day. Okay. Now, if you had to do a maintenance in the network, in a conventional network with splicing and so on, what would you have to do? We can see here on the left. So, okay, a cable is ruptured. You have to take the EDSS cable down from the pole, pull the slack if there is one, and then you input the cable inside the distribution closure, prepare all the cable ends, splice every single fiber, and then you bring up the box, the cable to the post, right? That will be somewhat what you'd need to do in a repair stage of the conventional network. If you go to EasyGrow, you disconnect the cables from the termination box, install the new pre-terminated cable, clean the connectors. That's it. Go home. That's how quick it is and how simple it is. You don't need to send maybe a truck in case, for example, you don't have slack. You have to install more cable. You have to take a spool, maybe a truck, 2, 3, 4 guys there, right? Here you can send a guy on a motorcycle and he can install the new cable, right? So everything changes when you change the design, change the architecture to EasyGrow. Here an example of how you can connect. So the guy is cleaning the connector, connected. That's it. You connect your distribution cable. How much time would you take to do 12, 24 splicing? Huh? And now he's connecting the cable to the next box. Right, so, and about the specialized labor, right? You can ask your technician, do you know how to twist the connector? Okay, that's it. You're ready to go to the field. That's how easy it is. Right, done. And launching the cable from one pole to another. That's it. One guy doing it. Right? As I said, it's very similar to a drop cable. Right? The cable is robust. It's not the same as a drop cable, but its size is much smaller. It's much lighter than a traditional distribution. Okay? Just so you have an idea how it is in the actual field. Okay? A bit more about the products. So we have this CTOP, which is the distribution box in the network, or like we like to call it also as a mini hub. So why mini hub? Because you have this without any splitters since you arrive here without any splitters before since the OLT, right? So you can even use this box for point-to-point applications. For example, if you have enterprise customers or you have some 5G application, you can use from this box. Besides being able to connect 16 pre-terminated serial networks, right? It can support also 144 splices and can be underground as well, IP68. Okay. This is the termination box. We call it CTOPL. As you can see, it's pretty small. You can see here in the pole, takes very little space. It comes sealed from factory with all the splitters already installed inside it. You don't need to worry about anything. Everything is tested before it comes out from factory. So it's just arriving in the field, putting on the pole or on a handhole. As it's very small, it's also very interesting to put on handholds. And that's it. You just deploy in the field and it's done. Okay. It's a very simple product. Then you have the cable. As I mentioned, it's with the size very similar to a drop cable. It's 3 millimeters. Of course, it's reinforced to sustain. It's probably asking, but everything is pre-terminated on drop cables, on distribution cables, and I have to specify the lengths. And definitely in some scenarios, I'm going to spend more cable. Yes, you're going to spend more cable in many scenarios. Yeah, but then I'm going to spend more. Yes, but that's the point. If you just change from conventional network to pre-terminated, it's not going to be worth it. You're going to spend a lot more money. But by changing also the design and make full use of the advantages of the pre-terminated solution, then you see a lot of advantages in your network, and you're gonna see why it's worth to use pre-terminated solution. Okay. So as you can see and you saw in the video, it's very easy to install and deploy. This is the connector, IP68. So as I said, you can put outside the box with no problem. Okay, it's a hardened connector, reinforced connector. Okay. Some cases, this is already installed by Telefónica in Brazil. It's already running for, I don't know, maybe 1 year or so, even more. And it's already deployed in Brazil for Vivo, which is Telefónica, which is one of the biggest groups of operators in the world. So this is in the poll, identified and all. Also, we have a project using this solution in Mexico with Easy, which is around 1.6 million HP home passed entirely with this solution. This is already being deployed, it's already in the 2nd year. Okay. And we can do a case study based on your scenario, your reality there. So this is just an example so that you can see what we can analyze with you. This is a study we did for Telefonica in Equator. Yeah. So you can provide, for example, an area as they did, some reference costs you have in the network today for labor, for cables, deployments, and so on. And then we can make an analysis comparing to as if it would be with the Easy Grow solution. And this is for, in this case, how much it reduced, right? So we can see a lot of reduction here in labors and accessories, right? We can see around 68%. Of course, it may vary from country to country, from customer to customer. That's why we say, okay, we can analyze together with you based on your specific scenario. But the point is, these main things here, these reductions you see here, they're definitely going to happen. Might not be the same size of reduction, but they are going to happen for sure. Okay. So as you saw in the videos, in the explanation, things are much quicker, easier, lighter to handle. So of course you can make the use of your teams, your workers, much more effective. So in this scenario here, he used 4 workers, he can reduce to 2. The number of fibers deployed in the network, as you're optimizing the distribution part of the network to a 1 core cable, you make the use of fiber much more effective. So instead of, in this case, the customer using almost 600 kilometers of cable, he used around 60. So this is a big reduction, right? Imagine how many splices he reduced. You can see here from 5,000 to 50, because you have one single splice in the network, right? Only in the CTOP, in the distribution box, right? For every serial part of network. So this reduces a lot. Also, when you think about the safety of your installation, sometimes if you have the technician opening the box, you might stumble on something, hit some fibers, damage some fiber, have to redo the splicing, have customers offline, right? In this case, you don't need to open any box, right? So there's no danger to damaging the installation that's already done. Yeah. And the effectiveness of the team, if you have to do all the splicing and so on, like in this case, he used like 1 hour to install every subscriber. He can reduce a lot of the pre-terminated solution, like 15 minutes, because the box is there. Just go in the pole, twist the cable, the connector outside the box, deploy the cable up to the subscriber homes, field connector inside, and that's it. It's done, right? So you don't have to do any splicing, open the box, field connector on the pole or something like that. You can reduce all this timing, okay? And if we look at the TCO, the total cost of ownership by using Easy Grow, you can reduce around 22% here, okay? So this is the reduction this customer could achieve by using the Easy Grow solution instead of their conventional solution that they were using until today. And as I said, we can do the same analysis with you for your country, for your scenario, your costs. All right. So if you're interested in a solution and want to do something like this, please reach out to us. You have a button, I think, schedule a meeting in this webinar, and we can get in touch with you and start present you in more detail and also do this kind of analysis. Okay. We also help to do the pre-design, so we do some recommendations for where to put the boxes, where to pass the cables. We have a design team very experienced in that. Okay. Training. So of course we're not going to handle you a new solution and say good luck. We have all these trainings to the technicians, to the design teams, to everyone that's going to be involved in the project in your network. We can send engineers to the site when you have the first deployments. Okay. Here on the right, you can see this is a class for the EASY project in Mexico. So we sent this guy, engineer, which is very experienced, to train the personnel, be with you during the first installations, right? So we give you all these supports and of course certify that the network is being deployed correctly. Okay, guys, thank you very much.
Oh. Later, you all will receive the link for this video, which will remain available for those who want to see it again, and also a link for a quick survey, also available here in the chat. We had some questions. So the first one is this one. From the MiniHub CTOP, is it possible to connect clients point to point?
Hi, Luis. Thank you very much. Yes, of course. You can connect any point-to-point application, as you have no splitter since the central office, right? You can arrive, for example, with a 12 fiber cable in this, or 24 fiber cable in this MiniHub, and you can use, let's say, 12 fibers for the FTTH part of the network, and the other 12 fibers for point-to-point applications, maybe connecting directly to enterprise customers or 5G applications. So yeah, you can use this same box to connect different applications, right? Thank you very much.
Right. The other question we got is how is kilometer fiber can be reduced 90%, and also the quantity of splice.
Yeah, thank you very much, Itsan. I think, sorry if I spoke it wrong. It's mainly because of the reduction of the distribution part of the network, right? So before, when you probably have in your conventional network, from the distribution box or cabinet to the termination box, you're gonna have 24 fiber cables, 12 fiber cables, 48 fiber cables, right? And this is now being replaced by a 1 fiber cable, right? So this is where you reduce the number of kilometer fiber in the network. Instead of having 12 fibers, for example, in those same distance, you're gonna have a 1 single fiber only. And about the splicing, because you're gonna have just 1 splice in the distribution box in the entire network. From that point on, from the distribution box onwards, you're gonna have everything pre-terminated. Everything is pre-connectorized from factory. So you don't have any splicing whatsoever until the subscriber. So from the distribution box in the network up to the subscriber, no splicing. That's why you can reduce a lot the number of splicing and number of fiber in the network. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and one next question is this one: how maximum length for pre-com drop cable based on your recommendation?
All right, thank you, Maher. The length of the pre-con drop cable can be customized to the customer's need. Usually it doesn't go over 400, 500 meters because then it will not be worth it. So usually what we recommend is around 150, 200, maybe 250 meters. But again, this can be customized to the customer scenario. So usually the customer selects like between 3 and 5 lengths, and works with those lengths in the deployment of the network. Okay, so this can be customized, but usually it's between 150, maybe 300 maximum. Okay, thank you.
Right. And other question is how, if there is problem in CTOPL, we should change or repair. And also an example of the quality of splitter is not good.
Okay, so first thing you should know is that the CTOPL, or the termination box, right? It comes pre-tested from factory. So before coming out from factory to you, it's every part is tested, the splitter is tested, everything is tested, and then it's sealed and sent to you. So when you get it, it's working perfectly. All right. So that's how we attest the quality of the box, the parts, and the splitter. Now, if you have a problem, let's say a truck hit the pole or the box in the field, and you lost the box for some reason, then you have to replace the box. Yeah, but that's the point. It's much easier. This could happen even whether it would be a pre-terminated box or not, right? If it wasn't a pre-terminated box like the CTOPL, you'd have to replace that box in the same way, right? And then you have to cut the cable, do all the splicing again, put the box again in the pole. But if it's the CTOPL pre-terminated, you just reconnect the cable to the box, and that's it. It's very quick, very easy to do it, right? It's much easier. You don't have to do any splicing, right? The equipment is much lighter, much smaller, so everything becomes much quicker, much easier to do in terms of repairing the network. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and one last question, at least. In Indonesia existing topology uses first level 1x4. Is it possible to combine with this solution?
Yes, thank you, Arif. Yeah, of course it's possible. When you have let's say many operators have sometimes the distribution part of the network done in cabinets or box, and this example of the ODC is a perfect example of that. So let's say they have already the 1x4 there, and then they want to deploy, and they're interested in this solution. Yeah, we can design the network from that point onwards. So we can sit down and talk about it to see the exact scenario the customer has. But it is possible. Of course, we won't be able to put maybe 8 boxes, right? We have to limit ourselves at 4 because you have only you have less power budget available. Okay, but it is possible to combine. Yeah, maybe not in the same efficiency or the same way as I showed you here with all this topology and solution for Furukawa end-to-end. But for example, you can have the single fiber cable instead of pre-terminated on the distribution cabinet, which would be the ODC, you can have a field connector or splicing over there, and then continue the rest of the network with the CTOPL, right, for the termination part. So yes, we can combine. The scenario I showed you here today would be the ideal scenario where you would take you have the most effective network in the field. But if you already have part of the network installed, yeah, we can combine and adapt it to your scenario. No problem. Thank you, Arif.
Okay, thank you, Chapo. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Further, if you have any more questions, you can send them to Chapo's email, alexandre.chapo@furukawaelectric.com. And you can join us on social networks and see the emails that we'll send you in order to attend our next presentations. Once again, thank you very much for your assistance here, and take care.
Thank you, everyone.